Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Cinema d'Amore. I'm Chuck, joined by
Justin.
And this week we're talking about friendship. The concept, not the movie. Just the concept of friendship.
Our new season of the podcast is not about movies anymore.
It's just like a therapy session.
I think they're all kind of therapy sessions, even when they are about movies. Yeah, it just reveals stuff about ourselves that we never knew.
Yeah. This is a great Tim Robinson film. He's just blowing up everywhere.
It's a great Paul Rudd film.
Somehow the low point in his career was SNL. Some people that's all they try, but you know.
Actually, I have to say SNL, him only working with them for like 3 years, a year as an actor and like the remaining of his contract as a writer, I think worked out really, really well for him because he actually got to get out there and do these things that he wants to do, as opposed to like the ones that become huge and you don't see them again. Like maybe here and there, but almost all, like it seems very, very hard for a likable cast member to even make it big. That's probably why Kenan Thompson's just staying on board as long as he can. I mean, he'll probably become the next Lorne Michaels for Saturday Night. That's what I think. I think so.
He's holding out for a job in management.
Or so it seems. I mean, who do you think's going to take over? Lorne's going to retire eventually.
I mean, unless it's someone else like Seth Meyers or Jimmy Fallon or something like that, like one of the other guys that he's like still got a hand in their careers.
You know what? It should be somebody very young, like Pete Davidson or younger, so that person can last another 50 years with SNL. But does this movie connect to our last movie, or are you just winging it?
We're just winging it. We're starting over. We're starting fresh.
Okay.
Sometimes, you know, you can't connect. You sometimes have to just sit there forever and just you'll never get that connection. So sometimes you just got to start over. I'm sure there's a connection somewhere. We just haven't figured it out.
Yeah, there is a connection. There's a huge connection. The frogs or the toads.
Sure, good with that.
See, that's the power of you can always find a way to connect.
Frog ripped me off.
Yeah, I think that what's interesting about friendship is we're discussing a comedy. We haven't done that, I feel, for a while. And B, I think Tim Robinson's comedy it's
a very dark comedy.
It's not just dark. It's interesting because like he does tend to work his humor around not just the absurd, but like where things would typically try to get you to laugh. That's not. He tries to throw you off or something. He does it completely weird, completely different. Like there's a scene in this movie where like he's in the mall with his son and that guy goes by on that like pig and they don't seem like they're going to mention it at first. And I'm like, that's what he does. Like, I don't I wouldn't say I don't understand them. I understand what he's going for, but that's the humor. It's like something really absurd like that, we're not going to draw a lot of attention to it. And then something very mundane is what we're going to focus on. For this rewatch, there's a lot going on because I watched all the deleted scenes and I watched the extended scenes and then I watched a great interview that they did in the dark with one of the actors. Like one of the actors was, you know, hosting it, asking questions. And they're in like pitch black dark. This is a feature on the Blu-ray. You can see like Tim Robinson's like noticeably getting angry that this guy's like not prepared with his questions, and he keeps turning on his flashlight to read the questions, and the questions are terrible, and they'll be like, "Who came up with these questions?" And it's like, he did. These are his questions. I don't understand why he doesn't know them. It's funny, but it's worth watching. And the reason I dove into that too was because obviously it's heavily improv. There's that scene where that guy walks into the garage while he's sitting there at his drum set. And it's really just like, it's like a 15-minute take, and they edit it into they, like, edit it down as a movie to be, like, maybe 4 minutes tops, but I've seen a whole bunch of different edits, so I'm thinking people were just having fun with it online and cutting it together however the hell they wanted to. But when you see it long form, you could definitely tell that a lot of these seem like what would I call them? Acting, like, practices? Like, warm-ups or something like that, you know? Where it's like, "This is the goal of my person, this is the goal of your person, and we're gonna have a conversation, and we're just gonna keep it going forever." Also, heavily in this movie is I do think a lot of it had to be improv because they reiterate a ton of stuff constantly. I think they're always riffing on other parts of the script or, like, things that are supposed to be a part of the script. I feel like a lot of the deleted scenes are things that they were like, "Okay, we've talked about that too much. We don't need that in the movie." But otherwise, I think it, like, 100% would be there. But more or less what I'm talking about is the premise of this movie is Tim Robinson's character, Craig Watterson, meets his neighbor, Austin,
Mhm.
and they form this friendship, and then the friendship starts to break apart. But a part of the DNA of this character of Craig is that, like, he starts copying and basically doing everything that Austin did. Austin's like, "Hey, let's hang out in the garage," and then he tries it with his coworkers, and they're like, "What the fuck are we doing here?" He's like, "It's awesome, trust me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so
do
you
this,
want
it's gonna be great." But, yeah, every little thing like that, it just whatever happens in that first, like, 20-25 minutes gets reiterated throughout the rest of the movie
yeah.
constantly. He just constantly picks up things like I mean, one of the funniest fucking parts I think in this entire movie is when Paul Rudd's character Austin takes him down into the sewers and gets him on top of, like, City Hall, like, "Hey, look at this cool place that we broke into." So, Craig's with his wife, and he's like a spur of a moment fun adventure thing. He's like, "Let's go into the sewers." And then
Before you actually get there, yeah.
he loses her. And, I mean, I think that's another thing that it kinda, like that's where the humor comes from, where they play with you because when he tells his wife to go ahead and he finally gets up in that ramp or whatever you wanna call it, that passageway that you have to jump up to get to, and he's not, like, physically fit enough to make it up there.
Mhm.
When he gets up there, it almost seems like it's gonna be a horror film with those dark alleys, and then all of a sudden, like,
Then he
it's cut
drops his
to
phone and loses his light, which
he loses his phone,
he
like
gets, like, 5 phones in this movie.
yeah. But it cuts to just straight up, like, he's just at home with his son, like, I couldn't find your mother." I think she's like I think it's like
In
23
s
days that
in sewers.
she's in sewers. Yeah, and it's even really funny too when the police show up and they're like, Where's your wife? She's somewhere in the sewers." They're like, "What?"
Yeah, yeah,
It's
like,
such a
he
good
definitely
cut.
wasn't gonna tell the cops at all until they showed up at his door. There's I feel like all of his everything that he does feels like it's all in the same universe, of just, like, things being very absurd. His characters, from this, I Think You Should Leave, Detroiters, The Chair Company, they're all, like, very specific characters that have, like, the weirdest quirks. The one I love too is, like, with how they just everyone keeps referring to, "Oh, we gotta see the new Marvel. I hear that new Marvel is great," and, like, that's just how they keep referring to everything. I think, like, one of his coworkers later is like, "God, he's acting like a Marvel or something." They just keep referring to things like that. They won't get specific. Everything's just a Marvel, or, like,
Or like a
the super
good.
specific humor of, like, "Oh my god, Ocean View Dining is gonna get all my money." "What? Ocean View Dining? That they make my clothes." You're like, "Oh, okay." It's like, "Yeah, I guess those look like quality clothes." He's like, "Oh my god, the fall collection is gonna be amazing."
Which I think comes from his improv too, because it does seem like something very similar to was it Dan Flash? What's it called?
Hand flashes, yes.
Yeah, Dan Flash's clothes where it's like, oh, the patterns are just they're so complex. That's why they're like they're so rare. That's why they're so expensive.
He talks
So
about
like
things like that, or like there's like the thing in the chair company where he has to track down that very specific clothing shop, and there's the guy that's like, well, if you're a member in the club, and it's like there's like very specific things that you have to do.
yeah, and I feel like he hires a lot of these smaller actors off of they must be doing other like improv shows or something. I've seen some of them. I mean, besides the main ones. I do find it interesting though, Chuck, that well, we rewatched this movie during during the first season of The Chair Company, where it's only like 5 or 6 episodes in, and I do like that his son in this and his daughter in The Chair Company are both kids from It. I think he should just continue to, like, have them
Just
all
get all
eventually
those
be his children.
things.
Yeah. I think all, like, the individual humor's really, really funny, but he does pinpoint on, like, a very particular type of person, maybe one with ADHD, somebody that's, like, really trying to make the friendship thing work and not understanding, like, what they've done wrong or how they've botched it, and
Yeah,
then I also like the thing where, like, people pick up, like, other habits from people, like, things that people find exciting, they'll take and they'll use in other places with other people, like it's fresh, like it's their idea, and he really loves to jump on that, because his character in this really feels like some people that I'm friends with, you know? If I got a license to chill.
I'll also have the bonsai burger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it seems like and the way everything pivots off of like it literally is just one thing because yeah, in the first 20 minutes when he shows up at his house and they're drinking beer. He shows him that rock that's like an ancient relic, and he's like, "Yeah, it's real cool." They dug that out of the ground. It's like a fossil. And then they break into City Hall and all those like fun things. Yeah, he goes to see his rock concert for his band, and it's just like one of those nights. And I think it's another thing, like you're saying, that's very relatable. Like people have that a very tight group of friends, and then you have that one other friend that it's like, hey, I'm gonna invite my other friend, and that guy just completely doesn't fit in with like the rest of them that have this much longer relationship. Like keeps trying to like insert himself into their too deep into their friendship, like right off the bat. He just keeps like failing miserably from like walking right into that glass door and shattering it, and then
And the way that
punching him in the
plays out is
face when they're
really fucking
boxing.
funny too, where he doesn't just walk through it and it shatters. He walks into it really hard, then comes inside, and then they're like, "Dude, you hit that really hard." It shatters after the
Just falls to pieces. And yeah, and the scene where they're like boxing in the basement, and like Paul Rudd's like kind of punching him in the face, but then they're like, "Oh, it's all fun," and then he like really gets like way too into it and knocks him down. And when he does the
he does a
puts the
cheap
soap in his
shot.
mouth and does the "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to," and it's just, like, so awkward to watch. But that scene kept making me think of Step Brothers where they do, like, their job interview in tuxedos, and Seth Rogen's like, "Yeah, this is, like, funny, like, I feel like you guys are fun to hang out with," and then, like, just one of them farts, and it's just, like, such a terrible smell, and he's just like, "You know what? No, this whole thing's weird now. I don't no, I think there's something wrong. I don't like this anymore. Like something's
I
off. I don't think we can do this anymore."
he's real I mean, it's really good with the plants and the payoffs too. I do love when he's out in the woods, like, foraging mushrooms with Paul Rudd, and Paul Rudd's like, "Yeah, this mushroom is, like, delicious, just a little bit of butter, it's a whole meal," and he ends up taking that mushroom and, like, making it for his wife, and but later, when they're not friends and he takes his son, he grabs, like, a completely different looking mushroom, like,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
remotely
it's
the
not
same.
poison. It's
Yeah, and
fine.
he's like yeah, and then
Which
that's when
again
he's, like, really
again
sick.
feels like it makes me think of the chair company with the deviled egg when he's like,
Mhm.
I want a box for that half a deviled egg," and then makes him sick while he's like trying to investigate later. Yeah, every time he tries to And I do love the shift from Paul Rudd too, where, like, he is the cool guy at the beginning, and, he says things like, "Nah, man, I don't have a phone. I'm a free man." And then later when after after he loses his phone and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't have a phone for a while," and Paul Rudd pulls out a phone, he's like, "You got a phone?" He's like, "Of course I have a phone. I'm an adult. Like, I have to have a phone." Like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, you do realize really quick, like, I would say after the friendship's, like, in pieces, Paul Rudd's not a very cool person. It's like another fake persona that
It's a
he
whole
he
false thing
he made up to
that he's
impress
putting on.
Craig. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, Craig feels, he does feel, like, responsible for him because he's the one that told him, yeah, Austin's the late night weatherman, and he's like, "You gotta ask him to do mornings." And he asks him to do mornings, and then it's like, it's actually terrible for Austin. He's like, "I'm under so much pressure, man. You don't understand how mornings are. You don't get it. I can't handle this."
I could definitely see this movie I thought was really fun the first time I saw it, and this is the second time, and I enjoyed it even more the second time around. So I'm feeling that it is on the trajectory of something like Step Brothers. I feel like it's gonna be one of those movies that I'll be able to revisit, and it'll still be fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, you could talk about, like, tons of individual little things, like, when he first goes to that phone store to get his new phone, and he wants to be friends with the guy that's selling him his phone, but it comes off like
it
a
feels like
really
he makes it
creepy, like,
super yeah, he
date
makes it
thing,
super awkward with that kid. Yeah.
and then he's like, "You want anything stronger besides beer? I'll have it." And, yeah, that's the great, like, licks the poisonous toad and has a trip, and he
That
goes
guy's
to
hilarious, though.
Subway.
He's like, "Big lip. Was that too much? Am I gonna die? Am I alright?"
But yeah, his and also that's like an I like that shot too where he's staring at the ceiling and it's just very simple, like it becomes the
It
wall, like
turns
the
the
ceiling.
wheel, yeah.
So he walks in, Paul Rudd's working at Subway, he orders a sandwich, and then he wakes up and the guy's like, "How was your trip? Did it
Was it
take
like
several
3, 4
months?"
months? Nah, man, it was like a few minutes. What happened? I went to Subway, didn't even get my
Did you
sandwich.
did you get the answers? No, I just ordered a sandwich.
Yeah. I went to Subway, the eatery? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
or
like
like even the fun stuff where like his wife keeps like bringing up Devin and he's like, "Who the hell's Devin? Like, what's the deal with Devin?" And whenever she's rescued and she comes home and they have that like welcome home party and the and Devin's just he's there and he's just like way too much with like how much he was upset that she was gone and missing.
yeah. Yeah, seems much more upset than Craig was, which, yeah, when he's with his son too, and he's like, "You going to school today?" He's like, "My mom's missing." He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you going to work?" And he's like, "I have to." And he's like, "You should be out there looking for her." Yeah, there's
And like the son
so
being
many
like real too close with his mom and he's like, "You kissed her on the lips?" And like they ignore it, but like that relationship's just, like, questionable the whole time, like, every
and his
time
yeah,
they're together.
his and his girlfriend's from one of the actors from Anora, and, yeah, he makes that joke,
Mhm.
like, while his mom's still missing, he's like, "Whoa, replaced your mom already." It's just like such like an inappropriate joke to make while she's currently missing. Yeah, his characters are all and it feels like because he kinda works in, like, the same type of, like, corporate world that he does specifically in the chair company in this one. He is really good at playing those characters that are just basically completely disrespected by, like, everyone around them, like, everyone that works for him thinks he's a joke and, like, doesn't like him, and, they just think he's a loser, and which the that was, like, my favorite shot from the trailer when I first saw it, and I was like, "I could tell I'm gonna like this movie when he fills up that mug too full, and he's just like, 'Whoa, watch out, guys, full mug coming through,' and one guy walks by, and he's just like, 'Excuse me,' and then he's just like, 'Fucking idiot.'"
Which it kinda mirrors the scene from the first episode of The Chair Company where he's, like, trying to get past that old woman in the hallway, and he's just like, "Come the fuck on, Jesus Christ." But I mean, I guess that's who he has to play. He's a little weird, and we talked about it a long time ago, but since watching I Think You Should Leave and then watching Doctor Strangelove, like, he mirrors that guy so much. What's that actor?
Peter Sellers.
Is it? No, no, it's not Peter Sellers, it's,
You're thinking of Sterling Hayden, his character from Doctor Strangelove. He's the one
uh
that's talking about, like, the fluoride in the water and
yeah, he kinda, like, mirrors him exactly.
or no, we're thinking of George C. Scott.
Yes, yes, George C.
That's it.
Scott. I knew it
I was
wasn't
trying to
Peter
think of who
Sellers,
we
I was
were I was trying to think of who we compared him to when we talked about Doctor Strangelove. It was
he
yeah, it's,
definitely seems like a like a clone of that guy,
yeah.
and I can't watch Doctor Strangelove without thinking about Tim Robinson, and like, watching this, I was like, "I just wanna watch Doctor Strangelove again," because it's just so absurd where he's, like when he's, like, sinking into the mud like it's quicksand or whatever, and
And just drops his phone immediately.
mhm.
Oh god, yeah, yeah, the amount of times he just, like, drops his phone for no reason, like, you'd think the thing is covered in oil or something, the amount of times it just, like, slips out of his hand. When he's in the sewers, when he's in the woods, he's just constantly dropping his phone every
Or I can relate to or I'm sure my wife can really relate to when he orders his drum set, and she's like, "There's package that came for you," and he's just opening it up, and this is, like, 100% a comment of Steph's, which would be like, "Is that for you?"
Yeah, I got a jam with Austin.
And Jimp was this one, right? No. Jim? No,
Jumped
it's
with an
not
I,
Jim, it's Jimp. It's just absolutely absurd,
but in the
but,
end, their friendship, still goes on because he'll hold Austin's secret forever that he that he's secretly bald.
yeah, when
Which
does
the
that
moment
first
that's
happen in
revealed is
jail?
great. When he's in jail and he slips on all the pee all over the floor from like the leaking toilet and drops his toupee. Which yeah, then that leads to a great moment in the end when he yeah, the entire end, like the last 15 minutes of the movie are it's perfect. It's hilarious. They, after she gets back from the sewers, she's like, I'm gonna go live in Devin's pool house till we get
Mhm.
this figured out. Like, so she leaves him. And yeah, it's like it feels like he's like trying to get the family back together. He buys his wife a minivan so she can transport her flowers, and they go out for his son's birthday dinner, which and then does have that really awkward moment where the guy bumps into her chair, and he's like, it's like he's trying to impress her by like yelling at the guy and being like, "You need to apologize right
I mean,
now."
it works. That moment brings her back. And then
It
he,
does,
like, lays on the fact he got the van, and she's like, "Wow."
but I do
And
love
she
his reaction to it when he's like, "We need to leave now. I can't believe I did that. We need to go.
yeah,
We need to leave now." I don't know why I did that.
like, the
But
guy's gonna
yeah,
have second thoughts and be like,
yeah,
"Nah, I could take
and
that
beat him
guy."
up. Yeah, yeah. But when they leave, and then he sees again, yeah, great plan payoff of seeing the yellow Corvette in Austin's driveway, and he's like, "When I get that yellow Corvette, you'll be the first one I'll take for a ride in it." when he goes, when he they do play it as though like he's finally over it because like he gets a wrong package at his house again
Mhm.
for like the third time, and so you think he's gonna immediately be like, "Oh, I got to run this over to him so I can talk to him," and instead he gives it to his son, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you run that over to him, and I won't have to deal with it." And then he's gonna he's gonna leave to buy candles, and then just goes flying and hits those speed bumps that he loves so much. That he's
That he
like,
put in.
"I had to fight with City Hall. That's why our street's not a racetrack."
Yeah, he does, he picks up on cliches like that. I do like one little thread was when Paul Rudd's gonna play, and he's like, "Fuck that senator," and he starts, playing the song, and then that senator becomes a client, and he's, like, trying to sell him on this shit, and then all of a sudden, he's like, "Fuck you, man." He's like, I had to fight to get that that speed bump put in," and he's up in arms about it, but he also brags about it, so it's also really funny that the speed bump is what, like fucks the brand new van. He doesn't hit the car. He doesn't hit, like, I feel like he was gonna speed into Paul Rudd's car,
Yeah, he
but he,
just
like,
hits those
just
speed bumps and goes flying.
yeah, his tie rods get all messed up.
Yeah, then he just tries the yeah, then I love when he breaks into the house. He's like, "You guys gotta ask me some questions. I'm part of the group. Just ask me a question. What's your favorite food?" "God, I can't think. I can't think of anything. Ask me a different question." Like, he just keeps trying to, like, go around the room and he's just, like, completely unprepared and just can't
Well, he
think of
breaks into the
anything.
house twice at least because the second package he gets, he goes over and tries to deliver it, no one's home. So he, like, throws it over the fence,
He's, like,
hops
in
the
there
fence.
washing their dishes, like,
He
just, like,
goes into the
hanging
house,
out.
like, through the door that he busted, and he's just, like, getting comfortable doing weird shit, and he finds that, like, golden gun that he pistol that he has, and then he hears his wife. He hears, Austin's wife, and he's like, "Oh, shit," so when she goes to the bathroom, he sneaks back out, but then he's like, "Fuck, I still have the gun." So, I don't even think he drops off the I don't think the
No,
package
he takes
gets
the package back with him. He takes the package back
but
to his house
yeah,
with him.
he has the gun. Paul Rudd shows up with the police and's like, "You stole my gun." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And they're like, "The dogs came straight here." And I love, like, "Oh, so you're saying
What are you
somebody
saying?
robbed
Somebody
you and
broke into
came
my
directly?
house too? Like, yeah, you saying somebody
You
broke into
son of
your
a
house and then
you
came
son of
down
a
and broke in
bitch.
mine?"
Son of a bitch, you know what you did." Yeah, it's so good. And then, like, he goes back and, like, that gun comes back into play where he's holding everybody up. And he does take that moment. I don't really know if it's I don't know if it really fixes anything, but he when he realizes that Paul Rudd's wig fell off again and nobody knows, and he's the only one that's seen it, he's just sticking everybody up to make sure that they can't see him while he gets his wig back on. So everybody's like, "Yeah, he's crazy," and he gets arrested, and there's kinda like a mutual respect for some reason, but, like, yeah, I don't know. He's going
Keep
to
that
jail.
secret.
I don't know how he's getting out of this. I feel like that's his first big movie. Everything else has been TV. I actually would probably love to discuss The Chair Company after it's done. I think it's an 8-episode show, and we're pretty close to finishing it. And yeah, I'm all caught up, and you're right. It's fucking hilarious. Like, it gets wild. Show's, like, insane. Where we're at right now, as the recording of this episode was, like, the episode where they're at, like, the Coke bar, and I don't wanna spoil that show for anybody. The premise of the show is that he collapses this chair, and then as he starts to find out more about the trying to find out, like, to complain to this company, it's like this big conspiracy thing that he's fallen into, and he's trying to figure out, and it actually does work really, really well as, like, an extremely long form skit of, "I think you should leave."
Yeah.
And I guess
As
this
like
is
I
the
said,
test.
I think he's gotten just better and better with everything. Like, I watched him out of order because I watched The Chair Company, started watching that, and then went back and watched Friendship, but it feels like Friendship was almost like a test run to see, like, can his comedy last for, like, longer than just, like, a 10-minute long sketch or something like that? Like, can he do, like, a full film of one character and have it be very interesting and have all of his same comedy work in it, and it does work.
Look up something real quick. I'm trying to find out this director. Yeah. Okay, so this is the same director and executive producer, this Andrew DeYoung, who directed this movie, did work on The Chair Company as well.
It makes
Because
sense.
I'm wondering, he's obviously, it's not just Tim Robinson's sense of humor, but he has some sort of, it's like, does he have control over these projects entirely? Or, like, I don't know how they're, like, this relationship works where they found each other and it just because it doesn't look like he did "I Think You Should Leave" or anything like that. Did he find him in a Craigslist ad? I have no idea. And they did say during their one interview, like, this was that Andrew DeYoung's concept of, like, exploring a friendship that goes bad and, not understanding necessarily what happened to make it go, wrong. And he's credited for, like, writing it. But I'm also thinking, like, a lot of this just is just straight up improv. So, like, how much credit do you get for doing the script that nobody more or less followed? I would like to read the original script. I think it would have to be, I don't know, I haven't really guess I've read a script where they heavily improv'd off the script. Is it just, like, acting exercises? Like, here's the main gist of the scene, and whatever else you do, you do.
I mean, might be. Yeah, I mean, if it's just like a general outline of like, hey, we need like this much stuff to happen in this scene, and then the dialogue's up to them to figure out.
Right, or you're like, "I want you to do these lines, I think they're important, and then after we get the shot that we want, I'll let you do the improv, and if something's better, I'll swap it out, and if it's not, I'll stick with what I had." I gue That's the only way I guess they could do it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
like,
mean, he
you
definitely
have
does like working with some of the same people over and over again on stuff
I
that
felt
I think when
yeah,
maybe once he does meet someone that he likes to work with, he like tries to keep pulling him back in. Like, I mean, there's people in the chair company that are from his previous stuff, and the guy in this movie that fights with him over the drum set, Connor O'Malley, that's like
mhm.
he's been in like all of his stuff. He's in I Think You Should Leave. He's in Detroiters. He pops up everywhere, which he's such a great random character that I love how that whole exchange goes of like starting off being like, "Oh man, sweet drums. Those are cool, man. Got like a real '70s feel." And he's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "How does it feel? What? To have my wife back feels great. No, to abandon your wife like a coward." And then they immediately just start screaming at each other.
Yeah, it's really funny because like, they get into riffs where, like, they relate. And then that guy will bring it back to be like, "Well, you abandoned your wife. You tried to kill your wife in the sewers." And Tim Robinson's character is immediately like, "Get the fuck out of here. Get out of my house." And, like, they keep it going for 15 minutes or whatever, and it is funny because like, yeah, they'll relate, and then immediately it's just like, "Hey, well, you trying to fucking murder your wife." "I didn't try to murder her in the sewers. I took her down there for an adventure." But, yeah, I do enjoy that type of comedy. I think I do like the darker comedy. I really like all the Danny McBride shows, that type of shit. I think they've all turned out really well. And I guess this is his Foot Fist Way, if we're gonna compare them.
It's
It's
the
like
one
his
that
little
got him.
test
It's
it's like
his
a little test
takeoff.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know how well it did. I mean, I think, it's produced by A24. A24 just seems to be like a vibe. I don't even know how to describe their aesthetic because they're so all over the place with everything that, it's like when people are like, "Oh, I love A24 movies." I'm like, I couldn't even tell you what an A24 movie is. Is it just
Hmm.
something that's not unconventional? Like, something's unconventional about the movie? I don't really know, 'cause there is such a wide variety of where places they go and different types of movies that they do.
Yeah. But I'm gonna leave you with I think we should still be in Afghanistan. I don't know why we left the way we did, and that's just how I feel about that. One of my I enjoy. It's the same guy when he has that line when he comes back in and just randomly throws that out, making everything weird.
Yeah, find that scene. Like, he leaves the garage, then he starts banging on the door, and he's, like, moving the whole wall, and then Tim Robinson's like, "Will you stop doing that? You're gonna." He comes back in and then starts apologizing and then bringing up new things, and then they start arguing again when he brings up his wife. I do feel like the director was just like, "Have a nice conversation, and when I point at you, you bring up his wife again." Like, I think that's I'm assuming they're both, like, Second City actors. I feel like Second City is, like, the main way into SNL, and I feel like most of these other actors that he's picking up in these projects that you don't know as well are, like, Second City people that didn't make it to SNL.
But yeah, I mean, I would agree with you though. We started out the beginning, there's a lot of people keep going to SNL and they don't. I mean, when was the last time, almost other than the way Tim Robinson's done things? Like, not a lot of the people that have been on SNL more recently, like the last kind of big ones to launch careers in film was like Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, Kristen Wiig, and like a lot of those guys left the show 5 to 10 years ago. Nobody more recently has really done anything. Like, it
I
doesn't
mean,
seem
it's
to
a
like
little
make stars.
it's interesting though because like I feel like everybody's story ends up a little bit different. Like Bill Hader, for example, I think his love for movies and his ability to like improv, and he's a really smart guy, helped him, you know, get a bunch of different roles. But when he got Barry and he ended up, getting behind the camera more, and then I think he's writing horror films or something now. Like it's such like a crazy genre shift, but you could tell that he's probably much more comfortable behind the I mean, he even says he is not comfortable up on stage. But then you get like Fred Armisen, who he did like Portlandia, and he kind of stuck with the sketch shit, you know. And I guess Robinson's closer to that because I don't know. Is there a Fred Armisen movie? I mean, he's done Portlandia. He's done documentary now, which they did with Bill Hader and
None of
Kristen
these
Wiig's
ever
like
led a movie, yeah.
Kristen Wiig's, like, had a couple leads for things, but, I mean, that's Hollywood, like, she did Bridesmaids, good movie, everybody liked it. Cast her in Ghostbusters, people were jacked about it, and I don't know, you don't really see her too much in anything. I think I just saw something where she was like it was like a made for TV or a streaming movie or something like that that she was involved in. But yeah, I can't really think of, a lot of them have kinda faded out, I feel, or faded a little bit. Maybe they're not completely gone, but, like, we were talking about Will Ferrell from Step Brothers, fucking love Step Brothers, and I am a big Will Ferrell fan, and I couldn't tell you the last thing I saw him in. Like, I like a good chunk of his comedies, but then there's, like, half of them I haven't seen at all, and I don't know who the next big star is because, like, it
I
seemed
mean,
like
Pete
Kate
Davidson, I
McKinnon was.
guess, was like, I'd say Pete Davidson is like the current most known person that left more recently, but I would kind of agree with you on that. Like, I feel like he started hot with like a lot of he had like a bunch of things, but then even that's kind of like slowed down to yeah, he had a direct to prime that movie with Eddie Murphy. It was like a heist movie. He just was in that. He's
He's
been
in
in like
another
smaller
heist
stuff.
movie. He shot here in Pittsburgh, How to Rob a Bank with Nick Holt. Maybe the title changes by the time it comes out. I can't remember the director. It's an action director, like Doug Lineman or something like that. And he was here for that. So, maybe you'll start seeing more things. He was in that Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Yeah, he pops up more than a lot of other people. And wasn't he in one of the Fast and Furious movies?
I do not remember him being in any Fast and Furious movies.
What's the movie where he's, like, at the internet cafe randomly? I almost feel like it's like a spy
Maybe
thing, like, "You gotta meet this guy here," and he's, like, working out of an internet cafe.
well, you might be right. He might have been. I feel like it was in a scene with something with
I
like
feel like
Tyrese and
Ludacris was there or
Ludacris.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel
I
like
feel like
Ludacris.
I feel like I think you might be right now that I couldn't think of a possible place that I would have seen him in in a Fast and Furious movies, but as
Well,
soon
you
as you
know
said
what?
that,
In the whole realm of the 10 Fast and Furious movie, or and plus the spinoff 11 movies, he's in, like, less than a percent of screen time for
yeah,
all of them combined.
he is in Fast X. It was the one that he was in, yeah.
'Cause, like, he also
But
showed up
Fast X was
in,
terrible. So
yeah, and it was pretty middle ground,
it was pretty forgettable,
pretty
which is why I
very
already forgot
forgettable,
some of it.
very, very middle ground, Fast and Furious movie, and
Yeah,
I do like
he's
that they're
kind of
supposed to
all
tone it
over the
down for the
place.
next one. We'll see. I don't even really know. A lot of the newer cast doesn't stand out to me yet. Like, I don't even know their names, so I'm just like, "Oh, yeah, I like that guy, he's got a good skit," and, I never, like, can remember them. But, yeah, I think it helps that Tim Robinson's kinda, like, being able to create this stuff, and I think, like, I think one of his, like, writer friends who was on that Seth Meyers show was another writer from SNL. So, like, even though he's more the face, like, because he's done a little bit of the acting or he's more comfortable with it, I feel like it's more of a team effort that we're not really seeing so much. He's just the one that's comfortable being dumb on camera. But yeah, it's on HBO. I know that because every time I finish an episode of The Chair Company, it's like,
Keeps
do
recommending.
you want to watch Friendship? You want to go right into Friendship?
Yeah, it's worth watching.
Would we have a friendship like the fantasy in that, where he's like in the apocalypse, have the night vision goggles, and he's looking at him with the infrared, and then he's just like smiling. It's like best friend.
Well, but yeah, he has that great fantasy. He, like, leaps over the fence to save him from choking or something.
You know what it does? One thought did come up during this movie, like the way he does fantasize like that. It did make me think of the King of Comedy, where he has these imagination, these scenarios in his head about how things are going to go and they don't go. But it's also about how people receive him, how people like act around him, and if they respect him or not. And nobody really respects either of these characters, and they take a violent route. But like, King of Comedy is kind of like fucked up and scary, and it's just like a hair difference in friendship, which makes it funny. It's very close to just being it could be as scary as I wouldn't say King of Comedy is scary, but like the character is. And I don't feel like Craig Watterson ever seems scary. Like, even when he has his gun at the end and he's threatening them, like, you don't feel like he's gonna like exit.
Like, if he shoots someone, it's gonna be an accident. Like, it's gonna be because he does something stupid.
I mean, we've seen some comedies like that. What was Observe and Report did that, where they just like straight like shot the guy, and I was like, holy hell. But I'd rather watch that than Paul Blart. So. All right, well, I think we're good. We're off to a good start, and I think that you'll enjoy my pick for the next episode. So I have it. And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Thank you. We're Cinema D'Amore. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with news and information on upcoming episodes. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, Alexa, or iHeartRadio. It would be greatly appreciated if you subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. We also appreciate feedback, so rate us, review us, and let us know what you think. And above all else, thank you for listening.